Question 1. Commercial property insurance. Which of the following best describes the difference between replacement cost and actual cash value received in property insurance valuation? A. Replacement cost provides coverage based on the market value of the property, while a CV only covers the depreciation value. B. Replacement cost is the amount to replace the damaged property with new property of like kind and quality, while a CV accounts for depreciation. C. A CV provides no coverage for depreciation, while replacement cost does not account for depreciation. D. Both replacement cost and a CV provide the same amount of coverage for property loss. Answer. B. Explanation. In commercial property insurance, replacement cost covers the cost of replacing damaged property with new property of similar kind and quality without factoring in depreciation. Actual cash value, a CV, on the other hand, factors in depreciation, meaning it pays the amount needed to replace the property minus depreciation. Option B correctly explains this distinction, whereas options A, C, and D are incorrect because they either misunderstand the calculation of depreciation or suggest that both methods are identical. Question 2. Commercial crime insurance. Which of the following is a typical exclusion found in a commercial crime policy regarding employee dishonesty coverage? A. Losses resulting from theft committed by employees during work hours. B. Losses occurring due to the employee's unauthorized use of company property for personal gain. C. Losses resulting from employee dishonesty when the employee is working from home. D. Losses caused by the insured's own failure to supervise employees adequately. Answer. D. Explanation. In commercial crime insurance, employee dishonesty coverage typically excludes losses arising from an insured's failure to supervise employees or conduct proper background checks. Option D highlights this key exclusion: losses caused by theft or dishonesty during work hours. Option A, unauthorized use of company property. Option B, and dishonesty when working from home. Option C, are generally covered under the employee dishonesty provision. Option D reflects a limitation in coverage due to the insured's own negligence or lack of proper management. Question 3. Scenario-based question. Workers' compensation insurance. Mr. Thompson, a small business owner in Indiana, is concerned about the potential for workplace accidents at his warehouse. One of his employees, during a routine task, injures their leg while operating a piece of machinery. The injury requires medical treatment, and the employee is unable to work for 2 weeks. What steps should Mr. Thompson take to ensure compliance with Indiana workers' compensation laws? A. Mr. Thompson should pay for the employee's medical bills out of pocket and continue paying wages until the employee returns to work. B. Mr. Thompson must report the injury to the Indiana Workers' Compensation Board within 7 days and ensure the employee files a claim for benefits. C. Mr. Thompson should allow the employee to return to work without restrictions to avoid any further delays in processing the claim. D. Mr. Thompson is not required to file a claim for workers' compensation as the injury occurred during a routine task. Answer. B. Explanation. Indiana requires employers to file a workers' compensation claim for any work-related injuries. In this scenario, Mr. Thompson must report the injury to the Indiana Workers' Compensation Board within 7 days. Option B, and ensure the employee files a formal claim for benefits. This ensures that the injured employee receives the necessary medical care and wage replacement benefits. Options A and C provide incorrect responses because they bypass legal requirements and fail to address the formal claims process. Option D is incorrect because workers' compensation is mandatory for work-related injuries, even those occurring during routine tasks. Question 4. Commercial General Liability (CGL) insurance. Which of the following is typically excluded under a commercial general liability (CGL) policy's coverage was bodily injury and property damage liability? A. Bodily injury caused by a defective product that was sold by the insured. B. Bodily injury caused by an employee's negligence while performing their duties for the insured. C. Bodily injury resulting from the insured's intentional acts. D. Bodily injury caused by a subcontractor hired by the insured to perform services at a job site. Answer. C. Explanation. CGL policies under coverage are typically exclude bodily injury resulting from the insured's intentional acts. Option C. The policy is designed to cover accidents, not intentional harm. Options A, B, and D are generally covered by the policy as they address situations involving accidental injuries arising from defective products. A. Employee negligence. B. And subcontractor actions. D. Provided the acts are unintentional. Question 5. Business Owners Policy (BOP). Which of the following businesses is most likely eligible for A business owner's policy BOP. A multinational corporation with over 500 employees. B. A small retail store with fewer than 50 employees and annual revenues under $10 million. C. A high-risk business, such as a construction company that builds residential homes. D. A large manufacturing facility that exceeds $50 million in annual revenue. Answer: B. Explanation. A business owner's policy BOP is designed for small to medium-sized businesses that meet certain eligibility criteria. Typically, these include businesses with fewer than 100 employees and annual revenues under $10 million. A small retail store with fewer than 50 employees and annual revenues under $10 million. Option B is the type of business that would most likely be eligible for a BOP. Options A, C, and D involve businesses that exceed the size and risk criteria typical for a BOP. Question 6. Commercial auto insurance. Which of the following statements is true regarding Hyde Auto coverage under a commercial auto policy? A. Hyde Auto coverage applies to vehicles that are owned by the business and are used for business purposes. B. Hyde Auto coverage provides protection for any vehicle rented or leased by the business regardless of its use. C. Hyde Auto coverage extends to vehicles that are borrowed from employees for business use. D. Hyde Auto coverage only applies when the business is renting a vehicle for personal use. Answer: B. Explanation. Hyde Auto coverage under a commercial auto policy provides coverage for vehicles that the business rents or leases for business purposes. Option B is correct, as it applies to vehicles rented or leased by the business regardless of the driver. Option is incorrect because it describes coverage for owned vehicles, not hired vehicles. Option C incorrectly extends coverage to borrowed vehicles, which is usually not covered under the Hyde Auto provision. Option D is incorrect, as Hyde Auto coverage applies specifically to business use, not personal use. Question 7. Umbrella liability insurance. Which of the following is a key feature of umbrella liability insurance? A. It provides primary coverage for general liability and commercial auto, replacing the need for primary insurance policies. B. It extends coverage above and beyond the limits of the insured's primary liability policies, such as CGL and commercial auto. C. It only provides additional coverage for specific types of liabilities, such as professional liability or workers' compensation. D. It covers claims that are typically excluded by the underlying primary policies, such as intentional acts and punitive damages. Answer: B. Explanation. Umbrella liability insurance is designed to extend coverage above and beyond the limits of existing primary liability policies, such as commercial general liability (CGL) and commercial auto policies. Option B. It provides an extra layer of protection for major claims that exceed the underlying coverage limits. Option is incorrect because the umbrella does not replace primary policies, it only supplements them. Option C is incorrect, as umbrella coverage applies broadly, not just to specific types of liabilities. Option D is incorrect because umbrella policies typically do not cover intentional acts or punitive damages, which are usually excluded. Question 8. Legal and ethical considerations in commercial lines. Which of the following best describes the primary focus of the ethical practices section in a commercial lines insurance exam? A. Ensuring compliance with state regulations on insurance rates and underwriting procedures. B. Identifying potential conflicts of interest and maintaining transparency with clients and regulators. C. Focusing primarily on the financial stability of insurance companies. D. Defining legal exclusions in commercial insurance policies, particularly in claims handling. Answer: B. Explanation. The ethical practices section of the exam focuses on identifying potential conflicts of interest and ensuring that insurance professionals maintain transparency with clients and regulators. Option B. It includes adherence to professional conduct standards, preventing fraud, and ensuring fair treatment in underwriting and claims handling. Options A, C, and D are more specific to regulatory requirements or financial matters, which are not the main focus of ethical practices. Question 9. Environmental and pollution liability insurance. What is typically covered under pollution liability insurance for a commercial business? A. Damages resulting from pollution caused by a single event, such as a chemical spill during transportation. B. Coverage for employee-related injuries caused by exposure to toxic substances at the workplace. C. Claims arising from pollution-related damage caused by natural disasters, such as hurricanes. D. Coverage for pollutants that are already known to exist at a site before the policy was written. Answer: A. Explanation. Pollution liability insurance covers damages related to pollution incidents, such as a chemical spill or accidental discharge of hazardous materials. Option A is correct as it applies to a sudden unexpected pollution event. Option B pertains more to workers' compensation, not pollution liability. Option C is incorrect as most pollution liability policies exclude damage caused by natural disasters. Option D is incorrect because pollution liability insurance typically does not cover pre-existing pollution conditions. Question 10. Workers' compensation insurance. In Indiana, which of the following is generally true regarding the obligations of an employer under the Indiana Workers' Compensation Act? A. Employers are not required to carry workers' compensation insurance unless they have more than 50 employees. B. Workers' compensation benefits do not cover medical expenses or wage replacement for employees injured while off duty. C. Employers must provide workers' compensation insurance or self-insure if they have one or more employees. D. Workers' compensation coverage in Indiana is optional for sole proprietors who have no employees. Answer: C. Explanation. Under the Indiana Workers' Compensation Act, employers must provide workers' compensation insurance or self-insure if they have one or more employees. Option C. This is a mandatory requirement for most employers, regardless of the size of the workforce. Option A is incorrect, as workers' compensation is required for all employers with any employees, not just those with more than 50 employees. Option B is incorrect because workers' compensation benefits do cover medical expenses and wage replacement for on-duty injuries, regardless of the employee's work schedule. Option D is incorrect because sole proprietors with employees are required to carry workers' compensation insurance. Question 11. Business Owners Policy BOP coverage. Which of the following is typically excluded under Business Owners Policy BOP? A. Fire damage to property owned by the business. B. Losses due to employee dishonesty. C. Medical expenses for injuries sustained on the business premises. D. Damage to a vehicle owned by the business. Answer: B. Explanation. A business owner's policy BOP typically excludes employee dishonesty. Option B, which would need to be covered under a separate employee dishonesty policy. Options A, C, and D are generally included in the BOP, covering fire damage, medical expenses for injuries, and property damage. A vehicle would typically require a separate commercial auto policy. Question 12. Workers' compensation coverage. Which of the following situations is NOT typically covered by workers' compensation insurance? A. An employee gets injured while operating machinery at work. B. An employee gets injured while traveling for business purposes. C. An employee gets injured while participating in an after-hours company event. D. An employee injures themselves while committing an intentional act. Answer: D. Explanation. Workers' compensation insurance generally does not cover injuries resulting from intentional acts. Option D. Injuries occurring while an employee is at work or engaged in work-related activities such as traveling for business or attending an after-hours company event are usually covered. Question 13. Commercial General Liability (CGL) insurance. Under Commercial General Liability (CGL) policy, which of the following would likely be covered? A. Damage to the insured's own property due to faulty workmanship. B. Injury caused by the insured's product sold to a third party. C. Intentional harm caused by the insured during business operations. D. Injuries caused by the insured while operating a motor vehicle. Answer: B. Explanation. Under CGL policy, injuries caused by the insured's products, option B, are typically covered as the policy protects against bodily injury and property damage caused by the insured's products or operations. Option A refers to damage to the insured's property, which would generally be covered by property insurance, not CGL. Option C refers to intentional harm, which is excluded from CGL coverage. Option D refers to motor vehicle incidents, which are covered under commercial auto insurance, not CGL. Question 14. Property insurance. Which of the following is generally not covered under commercial property insurance? A. Theft of business property. B. Damage caused by a fire in the building. C. Loss of income due to business interruption from a covered peril. D. Damage caused by a flood or earthquake. Answer: D. Explanation. Floods and earthquakes, option D, are typically excluded from commercial property insurance. Separate policies such as flood insurance and earthquake insurance are usually required for these types of losses. Options A, B, and C would generally be covered under a standard commercial property policy, assuming the loss occurs due to a covered peril. Question 15. Crime insurance. What does crime insurance typically cover? A. Loss of income due to a natural disaster. B. Property damage caused by a fire. at the insured's business. C. Employee theft of money or property. D. Bodily injury to employees caused by a slip and fall incident. Answer: C. Explanation. Crime insurance is designed to cover employee theft, fraud, or embezzlement of the insured's property or money. Option C. It does not cover losses from natural disasters, A. Fire damage, B. Or bodily injury, D. Which are covered under other types of insurance, such as business property or workers' compensation insurance. Question 16. General liability insurance. Which of the following is not typically covered by commercial general liability (CGL) insurance? A. Bodily injury to customers visiting the insured's business location. B. Property damage caused by the insured during business operations. C. Personal injury resulting from the insured's advertising activities. D. Damage to the insured's own business property. Answer: D. Explanation. CGL insurance generally does not cover damage to the insured's own property. Option D. It is designed to cover bodily injury, property damage, and personal injury caused to third parties due to the insured's operations or products. Coverage for the insured's property would generally be covered by property insurance. Question 17. Directors and officers (DO) insurance. Which of the following would not be covered under a directors and officers (DO) insurance policy? A. A lawsuit alleging wrongful termination by a company director. B. A claim of discrimination against a company officer by a former employee. C. A lawsuit alleging property damage caused by a director's personal negligence. D. Legal costs for defending an officer in a lawsuit related to their actions in a corporate role. Answer: C. Explanation. Directors and officers (DO) insurance covers claims related to wrongful acts by directors and officers, such as wrongful termination, discrimination, or legal defense costs related to actions performed in their corporate role. Options A, B, and D. However, it does not cover personal negligence or personal property damage caused by a director's actions. Option C, as DO insurance is specific to the director's role in the company. Question 18. Commercial auto insurance. Which of the following would likely be covered under a commercial auto insurance policy? A. An employee's personal vehicle used for business errands. B. Property damage caused by a company-owned vehicle while parked. C. Damage to personal property in the vehicle's trunk during a business trip. D. Bodily injury caused by an employee driving their personal vehicle for work purposes. Answer: B. Explanation. Commercial auto insurance typically covers property damage caused by a company-owned vehicle. Option B, whether the vehicle is in motion or parked. Option A refers to personal vehicles, which may not be covered unless a non-owned auto endorsement is included. Option C involves personal property, which is typically not covered by commercial auto insurance unless specifically stated in the policy. Option D may be covered under non-owned vehicle coverage, but depends on the specifics of the policy. Question 19. Business interruption insurance. Which of the following is typically covered by business interruption insurance? A. Loss of business income due to a fire that damages the building. B. Damage to company vehicles involved in an accident. C. Employee theft of business property. D. Legal defense costs for a liability lawsuit. Answer A. Explanation. Business interruption insurance covers loss of income due to interruptions caused by covered events such as fire or other perils that damage the business premises. Option A. It does not cover vehicle damage. B. Employee theft. C. Or legal defense costs. D. Which are covered by other types of insurance, such as commercial auto or crime insurance. Question 20. Cyber liability insurance. Which of the following situations would be covered by a cyber liability insurance policy? A. Loss of business property due to a flood. B. Legal defense costs for an employee lawsuit. C. A data breach exposing customer personal information. D. Injuries caused by an employee during a business trip. Answer: C. Explanation. Cyber liability insurance typically covers losses related to data breaches, such as exposure of customer personal information. Option C. It is not intended to cover flood losses, A. Employee lawsuits. B. Or injuries. D. Which are covered by other types of insurance, like property insurance or workers' compensation. Question 21. Commercial property insurance. Additional coverage. Which of the following can be added to a commercial property insurance policy to cover the loss of business income due to an event like a fire or natural disaster? A. Property damage endorsement. B. Business interruption endorsement. C. Liability endorsement. D. Employee theft endorsement. Answer: B. Explanation. The business interruption endorsement, option B, can be added to a commercial property insurance policy to cover loss of income during a covered event like a fire or disaster. This helps compensate for the revenue the business loses while it is unable to operate. The other endorsements, say C, D, serve different purposes, such as covering property damage, liability, and employee theft. Question 22. Workers' compensation. Exclusion. Which of the following would not be covered by a workers' compensation policy? A. An employee injured while operating machinery. B. An employee injured due to a slip and fall accident in the office. C. An employee injured while engaging in recreational activities during break time. D. An employee injured while driving a company vehicle on a work-related errand. Answer. C. Explanation. Workers' compensation generally does not cover injuries sustained during recreational activities. Option C, especially if they occur outside of work hours or while not engaged in work activities. Options A, B, and D are typically covered by workers' compensation because they happen during work-related tasks. Question 23. Errors and omissions EO insurance. Which of the following situations would be covered by errors and omissions EO insurance? A. A client suffers financial loss due to a service error made by an employee. B. A client is injured due to a product defect caused by the business. C. A business suffers property damage during a fire. D. A business faces liability for an injury caused by a slip and fall incident. Answer A. Explanation. As and omissions EO insurance covers claims arising from professional mistakes or negligence in the services provided, such as a service error leading to financial loss. Option A. It does not cover product defects. B. Property damage. C. Or liability for bodily injuries. D. Which are covered under different types of insurance. Question 24. Commercial auto insurance. Coverage types. Which of the following is typically covered under commercial auto insurance? A. Property damage caused by a company vehicle while parked. B. Loss of personal property inside a vehicle used for business purposes. C. Damage to the company-owned vehicle caused by an employee while driving on personal errands. D. Bodily injury caused by an employee driving a company vehicle for personal purposes. Answer A. Explanation. Commercial auto insurance typically covers property damage. Option A. Caused by a company-owned vehicle, even if it is parked. However, it does not generally cover loss of personal property. B. Or damage caused by an employee on personal errands. C. It also does not cover bodily injury. D. When an employee is using the company vehicle for personal purposes. Question 25. General liability insurance. Coverage. Which of the following is typically covered by commercial general liability insurance? CGL. A. A customer's property is damaged by the insured's product. B. The insured's own business property is damaged in a fire. C. An employee gets injured while working in the office. D. A client sues the business for breach of contract. Answer A. Explanation. CGL insurance covers third-party bodily injury and property damage caused by the insured's products or operations. Option A. It does not cover damage to the insured's own property. B. Employee injuries. C. Or contract disputes. D. Which are covered by other types of insurance, such as property or workers' compensation. Question 26. Umbrella insurance. What is the primary purpose of umbrella insurance? A. To provide additional liability coverage beyond the limits of standard policies. B. To cover damage to personal property from natural disasters. C. To cover employee injuries while at work. D. To provide legal defense coverage for lawsuits against the insured. Answer A. Explanation. Umbrella insurance provides additional liability coverage beyond the limits of standard policies. Option A, such as auto insurance or homeowners insurance. It does not cover property damage. B. Employee injuries. C. Or legal defense costs for non-liability matters. D. Question 27. Professional liability insurance. Which of the following professionals would most likely need professional liability insurance? A. A retail store owner. B. A business consultant providing advice to clients. C. A mechanic repairing vehicles. D. A contractor building homes. Answer B. Explanation. Professional liability insurance, also known as errors and omissions EO insurance, is particularly important for individuals who provide professional services, such as a business consultant. Option B. It helps protect against claims of negligence or errors in advice or services. Retail store owners, say mechanics. C. And contractors. D. Would typically need other forms of insurance like general liability or workers' compensation. Question 20. Property insurance. Exclusions. Which of the following is typically excluded from property insurance? A. Vandalism, damage to a business's exterior. B. Theft of inventory from the business's warehouse. C. Damage caused by flooding due to heavy rainfall. D. Fire damage to a business's office space. Answer C. Explanation. Flood damage, option C, is typically excluded from property insurance and would require a separate flood insurance policy. Vandalism, A, theft, B, and fire damage, D, are generally covered under standard property insurance policies. Question 29. Directors and officers DO insurance. Coverage. Which of the following would be covered under directors and officers DO insurance? A. A lawsuit against a director for negligence in a corporate decision. B. A lawsuit against an employee for wrongful termination. C. Property damage caused by a director's actions. D. A lawsuit related to a director's personal activities outside of their corporate role. Answer A. Explanation. DO insurance covers legal costs and claims related to negligent actions or decisions made by directors and officers in their corporate roles. Option A. It would not cover personal actions. D. Employee claims. B. Or property damage caused by directors. C. Question 30. Cyber liability insurance. Which of the following is typically covered under cyber liability insurance? A. A data breach exposing customer personal information. B. Loss of business income due to a fire. C. Injuries caused by a slip and fall incident. D. Damage to business property during a natural disaster. Answer A. Explanation. Cyber liability insurance covers risks related to data breaches and cybersecurity incidents. Option A, including the exposure of customer personal information. It does not cover fire damage. B. Bodily injuries. C. Or natural disaster damage. D. Which are covered by other types of insurance.